पावन हरिनाम संकीर्तन की, श्री राधा माधव की, श्री जगन्नाथ बलदेव सुभद्रा महारानी की, श्री श्री गौर निताई की। All glories to assembled devotees, all glories to assembled devotees, all glories to assembled devotees, all glories, all glories, all glories to Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshughuन्मीलितं येन तस्मै Shri Gurave Namaः. Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Sthapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupah Kada Mahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guroho Shri Yutapadakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parjana Sagitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishthaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraye. Nashtaprayeshva Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavatyuttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishthiki. Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nanda Gopa Kumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha. First of all, I seek the blessings of His Holiness Mahavishnu Maharaj, as well as all the other Vaishnavas here. I have only about 20 minutes or so. I have to go for a flight, but I'll speak very briefly. You got that verse? Anugrahaya Bhaktana. Is this the one? Anugrahaya Bhaktanam Deham. Oh, another verse. It's in Deham Manusham Astita.
Starting?
Yeah. You can say Bhajate Tadrishi Krida Yashrutva SRUTVA. Anugrahaya Bhaktanam Deham Manushyamasthitah Bhajate Tadrishi Krida Yashrutva Tatparo Bhavet. So this is a beautiful verse in the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. I'll speak briefly on this. This verse says, Anugrahaya Bhaktanam, for showing his compassion to his devotees. Deham Manusham Asitaha, Lord Krishna performs playful human-like pastimes. Bhajate tadrishi krida means those people who listen to these pastimes very faithfully and relish these pastimes.
Which verse is it?
This is in 10th canto. Prabhu, it begins with Anugrahaya Bhaktana. Prabhu?
What chapter?
Maharaj, 10:33-36.
10:33-36. Yeah. 10:33-36. Yeah. Bhajate tadrishi krida. Those who worship these beautiful pastimes of the Lord, ya shrutva, having heard that, tat parobhave, they become transcendental. That's the meaning of this verse. So, when Lord Krishna descends in this world, he performs two types of pastimes. One type of pastime exhibits his greatness or his divinity, which surpasses any mundane understanding of Krishna. Yeah, this is the one. When the Lord assumes a human-like body to show mercy to his devotees, he engages in such pastimes as will attract those who hear about them to become dedicated to him. Purport, by his divine grace, Srila Prabhupada ki, Prabhupada disciples. Srila Jiva Goswami explains in this connection that when Lord Krishna descends into this world in his original two-handed form, out of kindness he manifests that form in a way his devotees, conditioned in human society, can perceive and understand. Thus here it is stated, Manusham Deham Astitaha. He assumes a human-like body. Sri Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur glorifies the Lord's conjugal pastime, stating that these romantic affairs have an inconceivable spiritual potency to attract the polluted heart of conditioned souls. It is an undeniable fact that any pure or simple-hearted person who hears narrations of the loving affairs of Krishna will be attracted to the lotus feet of the Lord and gradually become his devotee. So, it is said that the jnanis and yogis in this world, they restrain their senses and mind with great force and great difficulty, and eventually they slip or fall back into the samsara or ocean and again get drowned in it. In the 11th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, there is a verse which says that jnanis yogis cross over the ocean of samsara, but they get caught up in a small puddle of water in which sometimes an ant may get drowned. Like that, they get drowned in that puddle of water. And what is that puddle? That puddle is anger. Because when the mystic yogis and the jnanis control their lust, anger, and greed and try to go beyond this world, again they fall victim to anger. You will find Vishwamitra restrained himself. When Menaka allured him, he fell prey to her. Later, he became very upset. Again, he went to the forest and performed great severe penances. And by those penances, he apparently, first he became Rajarishi, then Maharshi. But in second time, when Ramba came, he became angry with her that again you have come to make me fall down. So he turned her into a stone. So in that anger, he lost his, power of his penance. So in this world, one becomes victim of raga or dvesha. Raga means attachment, dvesha means hatred. From hatred arises anger. From raga arises lust. So one becomes a victim of lust or anger in this world. And if somebody wants to rise above these two extremes, which pollute the heart of the conditioned soul and keeps the conditioned soul bound in this world, then one should turn one's attention to Bhakti Yoga process. And in the path of Bhakti Yoga, the most important thing is the hearing, hearing of the holy name. In the shloka 1.8.36, I think, either 36 or 37, 36 I think, 1.8.36. Srila Prabhupada writes in that purport that although Karna, Duryodhana, Dushasana, Shakuni, they all saw Krishna eye to eye. They were envious of Krishna and they could not see him properly. They saw him like an enemy. And therefore, here Prabhupada says there that one will be able to see Krishna properly only when There is a proper hearing process. Even if you hear pastimes of Krishna, still one can get bewildered. He says that. Because in India, many people switch on the TV and see many, many movies of Krishna, or they hear from any speaker. And that will not work. That will not produce the necessary desired effect, he says. Because there is a mundane sound, there is a transcendental sound, there is a seemingly transcendental sound, Prabhupada says. So mundane sound we can easily discard. We know that this is a mundane sound. We don't want to watch Bollywood movies, Hollywood movies. We are not interested in that. And we also know Prabhupada's pure speech has produced so many devotees across the globe. It's a transcendental sound. At the same time, what we can get cheated by is a seemingly transcendental sound. Because many people speak pastimes of the Lord. If you go to Vrindavan at any time, 50 Bhagavad Kathas are going on, Saptahas going on. If you see the word Jnana Yajna, Bhagavat Jnana Yajna, that means they are Mayavadis. They are impersonalists. They will not give us Krishna properly. So we have to hear the pastimes of the Lord, name, form, qualities, pastimes and activities in Guru Parampara properly. And then Prabhupada writes, you should hear both about Krishna's greatness and about Krishna's sweetness. Krishna's greatness you get in Bhagavad Gita, the 18 chapters. At the end of 18 chapters, we will find ourselves in the lotus feet of Krishna, having adoration and admiration for Krishna's greatness. Like in the 10th chapter, he talks about his opulences. The 11th chapter, he displays his Vishwarupa Darshan. In the 7th chapter, 4 and 5 verses, he says he is the cause of all causes. And then from 7th to 13th verse in the 7th chapter, he gives how he is the essence of everything. So the cause of everything, essence of everything, very best of everything. So in this world, you will see, we are all looking for the best things in the world. Like you go to the market, you want to purchase what thing? The best thing. So Krishna shows amongst the animals, I am the lion, he is the best. Amongst the mountains, I am the Mount Everest, he says. Because Mount Everest is the biggest and tallest and most powerful. Amongst the body of waters, I am not a pond or a lake, I am the ocean, he says. So because we are attracted to the best things, he explains how the very best things come from him. He's the source of the very best things. So naturally one will be attracted to the Lord. And then he's saying he's the essence of everything. Because if essence is removed, there is no value of anything. So he's the essence of everything. And ultimately he says I'm the cause of everything. So by reading Bhagavad Gita properly, therefore Prabhupada said Bhagavad Gita as it is. At the end of Bhagavad Gita, we will find ourselves insignificant and Lord as the master of everyone and everything. And we develop a deep respect for the Lord. So, truly speaking, if one wants to understand God, it has to begin with a great amount of respect and adoration and admiration for Him. That's the beginning. That's the greatness, we call it. Then when we come to Srimad Bhagavatam, then we can appreciate the sweetness of the Lord. So Krishna performs two types of pastimes. One is human-like, as he says here, Manusham. It's called as Manushya Cheshtam Apannav. The Cheshta means human-like pastimes. It is not exactly human. For example, with my eyes, I can only see this much. I can't see what is behind. My eyes have a limitation. Whereas Krishna says that his eyes are everywhere. Sarvata Panipadam Tat Sarvato Akshi Shiro Mukham, he says. Even in a Amavasya night, a dark night, you can see a black ant on a black stone on Amavasya night, it is said. That is his clarity of his eyes. That is the power of his eyes. And many times we can't see anybody walking on the road on a dark night. There is a no moon day, isn't it? We can't see. Maybe we will bump on them and they shout at us, we can see the shining teeth, then you understand, oh, sorry, I'm sorry. So our eyes have limitation. Even you can't see our own hands without the sunlight's aid. Because now there is sunlight, so we can see. Similarly, our ears, if somebody is whispering at a distance or outside the temple, we can't hear. But Lord is in Goloka, but he can hear the whispering of anybody, even in this world. His ears have a long-reaching ability. So therefore, how his eyes are powerful, ears are powerful. From his navel, he can produce a lotus flower and produce Brahma in that. You can see that. So, therefore, in the Bhagavatam, we read the pastimes. One time when Jarasandha, a demon, was chasing after Krishna Balaram ran away. They ran a long distance and they climbed up Pravarshana mountain. And Jarasandha couldn't find them. in that huge forest-like mountain. So he told all his men, besiege the mountain and put kerosene and then put it on fire. So Krishna Balaram will be burnt to ashes. That was his idea. So when they set it on fire, Krishna Balaram from 90 miles high mountain, they jumped off. Nipetatu atho bhuvi, it is said. They jumped to the earth. And what do you think the next verse says? Next verse doesn't say that they were taken to orthopedic section for repairing the fracture or something. You find that it says the next verse says they secretly entered Dwaraka, it is said. Why the Lord's body doesn't get fractured even when he jumps 90 miles? Because his body is Satchidananda, transcendental. So no ordinary living entity can have such a body. So one should study the Bhagavatam like this to understand the divinity of Lord's body, divinity of Lord's pastimes. Like many people in India nowadays, you find they claim themselves to be God. So Prabhupada used to very vehemently oppose this idea. Lord Krishna swallowed the forest fire in the Munja forest. When the cows had entered and all over there were bamboos and fire came engulfing from all sides, and covered boys and cows approached Krishna. So at that time, Krishna told the covered boys to close their eyes and he swallowed all the forest fire. So you can imagine how can somebody swallow the forest fire unless he is God? When I was going the train, I saw in the berth when I was chanting in the morning time, one fellow got a cup of tea, hot tea, and he put it in his mouth in a semi-sleepy state. That burned his lips so much, he immediately threw it. The whole tea fell down and he shouted at the tea man, "How did you give me this? Such a hot tea, smoky hot. I will not pay you any money. Get lost," he was telling him. I was laughing to myself because the previous night only I read about Krishna swallowing forest fire. Here a living entity cannot even touch a hot tea to his mouth. And Krishna is swallowing forest fire. How can a living entity claim to be God? So therefore, we should see the greatness of the Lord and the insignificance of the living entity by studying such pastimes of greatness. So, and then Lord also performs pastimes which are of sweetness. So Prabhupada used to say, if somebody claims to be God, ask him to show the Vishrupa Darshan, universal form. Or ask him to open the mouth and show the universe within his belly. And Prabhupada said, if anybody is doing dandiya, as Prabhupada was telling, dance with other girls, many college boys do. So Prabhupada said, ask them to dance on the 1,000-hooded Kaliya snake. And while dancing, they have to, they have to smile also, Prabhupada said. Or they have to lift the Govardhan hill. So in this way, he performs, superhuman pastimes, which cannot be imitated. Then he performs human-like pastimes also, which are very endearing to the heart. So I will narrate one short pastime in about 5-6 minutes, from the book Krishna Bhavanamritam by Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti, and I'll conclude. So, in Vrindavan, every day Lord Krishna goes for herding the cows and calves. So one such morning, generally leaves at 8:21 a.m., he comes out with all the covered boys and cows and calves assembling. Everybody who wishes to come and see Krishna, the elderly covered ladies and the elderly covered men, they all come and watch that beauty. Therefore, we welcome the Lord in Shringar Darshan in the morning, because he is decorated by Yashoda and is getting ready to go for herding the cows and calves. So many times Yashoda will feel great separation when Krishna would go to the forest, just like the other younger gopis as well as elderly gopis also. On that particular day, Yashoda was telling Krishna that, my dear child, please do not go for herding the cows today. Just stay back. There are so many servants we have, they will do the work. I have kept this rock candy for you, sugar for you, butter for you, and rabadi. You know rabadi? Rabadi for you, everything. Krishna said, wow, these are all very tasty. But, my dear mother, when I go to forest and play with the covered boys, different games, compared to that, these are nothing for me. I can even forego this for enjoying the pastimes with my friends. Nevertheless, I like this very much. Keep them ready. When I come back in the evening, I will eat. Like he says. Then Mother Yashoda was wondering how to say. Then she told, you see, in the bank of Yamuna, there is a Kadamba forest, And in that forest there are highway robbers. And I heard that they uh, capture the passers-by, and they beat them sometimes. They may loot away their property. When I hear about all these things, my child, I am very worried about you. If they slap you, you will lose your control, lose your balance, and you will faint unconscious. I can't even think about it. And I am very worried that Kamsa may send some demons. Therefore, I am requesting you, please stay back at home. Do not go. Krishna laughed and laughed and laughed, and Yashoda wondered, why is he laughing so much? He said, there are so many thieves, mother, in this world, and for every thief there is a bigger thief. And amongst all the thieves, I am the biggest thief. And if I find any thief, I will cut him into 1,000 pieces. Don't worry. Nobody can beat me. Like the Krishna gave her confidence. So in this way, there was an argument between mother and mother, transcendental argument. And then mother understood that he is, he's bent upon going. So then she decided to send him. She called the younger ones like Rak, Tak, Pat, Rak, Chitrak and all of them. To one of them she said, please take this jeweled jar filled with rose-scented waters. Even if Krishna doesn't ask you for water, you should give him, because he's always absorbed in a playful mood. He said, mother, I will surely take care. When the sun gets hotter, I will voluntarily go and give him, he said. Then she called another junior boy to Krishna, and she said, please take this rava laddu, they call it. Made of, what do you call it? Made of flour. A special type of, it has got cashew nuts, fried cashew nuts. It has got elaichi, it has got sugar. It's very, very, if you put it in the mouth, it will melt. So she said, take these laddus, because Krishna may feel hungry in the noon time. And he will go on playing, even missing the lunch, but you should call him and give him, she said. And they all agreed. They all carried it in their shoulder. Then she called Krishna's equal friends and said, you boys, I think you fellows are playing naughty games in Govardhan, because I see some scratches in Krishna's body. I heard that you are all coming sliding down in the Govardhan. So in India, sometimes when children come for the marriage parties and all those occasions, sometimes they used to climb up to 3rd, 3rd or 4th story building, and there used to be a staircase, and they would come sliding down. You've seen that they do that on the wall, the side wall. They come sliding. So parents would get frightened from such a great height if they're sliding down up to the ground floor, not in the steps, in the side of the step, there is a wall. So parents used to be horrified, but children won't understand the danger. So that was Yashoda's condition. Yashoda was horrified to think that they can come gliding down the Govardhan like that. And the coward boys were looking at each other. How did Mother Yashoda come to know that? They were thinking. She asked, do you guys play like that? So the coward boys thought whether to tell a lie or tell a truth. If you tell a lie, it is not proper to tell a lie. If we tell the truth, she may stop Krishna from coming with us. So what should we do? So they told Yashoda that, Mother, we will definitely not play such dangerous games, especially when elders are present, they said. Which means when elders are not present, we'll play. Then she saw the Balram and Bhadra and Rishabha and all the elders of Krishna, and she told them, you see, when you go to forest, I am not there with him to protect him. So you please protect him. And Balram kept his hand on Krishna's shoulder and assured her that Kamsa's demons cannot touch Krishna as long as I am with him. And I will also make sure nothing will happen to Krishna. Don't worry, mother. Because Yashoda used to have many unnecessary fears that, the monkeys may scratch his body, or the cows may put their feet on Krishna's lap, or Krishna may fall into some pond and get drowned. All these fears she used to have out of love. These fears arise out of love. She wanted to see him protected, and Balram assured her protection. So when they were talking like this, Madhumangal told Mother Yashoda, oh mother, why are you so much bothering about us? In fact, you think we are suffering in the forest, but in fact, you are all suffering stuck within the 4 walls of the palace. When we go to forest, we herd the cows on one side, and we are playing in the swing very joyfully and playing multiple games with one another, and we eat laddus in between. So, in fact, we are not suffering, you are suffering. He said, you are all suffering staying back at home. In the meantime, the cows were wondering, how long will this dialogue go? And they saw the green grasses in the forest and they became attracted. At the same time, they couldn't leave Krishna. This was their heart. They were attached to Krishna. At the same time, they were attached to grass, but the attachment to Krishna was more, so they could not leave him. So they indicated to Krishna, "Ma." They made a sound like that. And Krishna told Yashoda, mother, see, all the cows are calling me now. I'll go to forest now. So, and when Krishna told Yashoda, with giving her assurance that, mother, you say the sun is hot, but look at the trees on either side. They embrace each other and they don't let any sun ray fall on me. Look at the road. It is flooded with soft flowers which are dropped by these trees. And a chamari deer with her tail has swept the forest for me. So when we all walk over the flower bed, we don't feel any pinprick at all, any prick of the thorns. Nor do we feel heat of the sun. So you can be assured that I am safe, protected, healthy, happy, and I will swiftly go to forest and come back very quickly in the evening. Don't worry. He gave her such assurance. And when he was walking towards the forest, Krishna looked back. All the mothers with excited eyes, they were all watching. So he thought, how can I leave these devotees and go? They will feel great pain in their hearts and minds. So he decided to take their hearts and minds and bind them together and keep it in his own heart. Keeping all their hearts within his heart, he went, which means the devotee's heart enters Krishna's heart, and Krishna's heart enters devotee's heart. Like Lord Vishnu told Durvasa, he said, Sadhavo hridayam madhyam sadhunam hridayam tvaham madanyattena jananti naham tebhyo managapi. He says, my devotees always think of me, I always think of them. They do not know anything other than me, I don't know anything other than them. He said. So in this way, Krishna enters the forest of Braja, where he has to exchange love with so many other devotees who are waiting for him, like the cuckoos and the peacocks and the monkeys and the parrots and the Yamuna and the trees, and who all are in great love with him. So Vrindavan is a abode of love, and in that everybody is absorbed, following the mood of Srimati Radharani, who is the personification of love, who is the abode of love. So everybody following her mood, assisting her, and serving Krishna. So this type of Vrindavan Dham is revealed in the pages of Srimad Bhagavatam for the non-envious, innocent-hearted, simple-minded devotees who can understand this pastime, explained in Guru Parampara by Acharya Srila Prabhupada. So these pastimes, he says that Bhajate Tadrishi Krida Yashutva Tat Paro Bhave. Anyone who hears these pastimes will forget the pangs of the material world, and they will be able to experience Vrindavan in their own hearts. And experiencing Vrindavan in their hearts, they can keep themselves sublime and pure and not to become muddy by the interaction with the material energy. Sadhana bhaktas have to be very careful and attentive up to the stage of nishtha and ruchi, because anarthas are not relieved by them. It takes time, and one shouldn't take it for granted. The Bhakti Yoga process is very, very powerful, potent, and pure, and very fast also, and it is very joyfully performed. At the same time, one also has to beware of the senses and mind, which can anytime drag one down unless one has come to the stage of Nishtha and Ruchi and beyond. So one should be conscious of Krishna by reading such pastimes, and one should be cautious of Maya, knowing well that material world is a foreign place for the soul. Goloka is our home. Keeping that in mind, like imagine if a soldier is going from one country to the neighborhood country to do some study or survey, how cautious he will be. Because if he is caught, he can be taken to task. In the same manner, we should be alert on one hand and blissful on the other hand. And this combination will produce very good results. And very soon, we will become purified and be taken beyond the three gunas, Rajaguna, Tamaguna, Sattva and begin experience the shelter of Krishna and feelings for Krishna, which will manifest as love, and after that we can experience separation. If we don't have love, how will we feel separation? Separation is a very advanced thing, what Lord Chaitanya taught. And for feeling love for Krishna, Prabhupada said, I am giving the Krishna book, which is a solace for the devotees. Prabhupada said, Shri Prabhupada ki, Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki, Granth Srimad Bhagavatam ki. So, I am sorry to speak in the presence of His Holiness Mahavishnu Maharaj. I just came for one evening, one morning. I wish I could stay longer and join Maharaja and wonderful Sankirtan. And I've seen Prabhu also dancing in many of the Kirtans beautifully. How they make I saw one of the videos where students were all sitting in a hotel. It's an open hotel. They were all eating. And the Kirtan Prabhuji was doing, Maharaj is also there in that. So such amazing Kirtan they did. Everybody washed their hands and came and joined the Kirtan and dancing. They formed a circle and the Kirtan built up. So I used to tell the Indian boys in India, you see, following in Prabhupada's footsteps, Mahavishnu Maharaj and his team of devotees are making the whole world dance. So this is like a miracle now because for quite some time, people were very dull and not receptive to Kirtan because of speculative mindset. But the kind of Kirtan Maharaj performs with his team, makes people evaporate their speculative mentality and become innocent like children. Thank you, Maharaj, for your wonderful example and your team of devotees. We are all very inspired. I use many of these videos to show to my students in India. Thank you.